And historically, that never benefits anyone.
No! No!
I don't regret voting for Trump.
Wait, no. Americans react to tariff price increases.
No! No!
That's amazing.
I don't regret.
Give me some Hogwatch, chat. Come on. I want to see more. I want to see more Americans. I want to see conservatives try and defend and fail to defend Donald Trump. And I want to see conservative, like normie conservatives, be like, yeah, I voted for him and I still think this is the right thing. That's what I want. I want to take out my cigarette paper, okay? Unfold it, and then put all of the delicious copium in it and pack up the fattest of hand-rolled cigarettes and smoke on it, okay? I need it. It is my crack. It is my cocaine. It is my fentanyl. And especially since Donald Trump has bravely decided to engage in this tariff war, fentanyl prices have gone up tremendously. I want to smoke on that spliffy. Coping with it in his mouth. Bill Mitchell. Who else sees an incredible buying opportunity? With what money? Who's he talking to? Like, even if he was talking to the like, wealthiest people, they just wiped out like $7 trillion of their net worth. So I don't think they're making any market moves right now. I like these guys also trying to... Oh, this is also hilarious. First True Believers, there's literally nothing he could do that wouldn't be just a part of the plan. This is QAnon, by the way. And it's really funny because he's a partner at Sequoia Capital. Do you understand? Donald Trump thinks in centuries. You mere mortals think in decades. He thinks in centuries. First long-term thinking president of my lifetime, he says. This motherfucker's a partner at Sequoia Capital, bro. How is that possible? How do you have fucking peasant brain like this? Starting the tariffs on Canada and then reversing them with a 30-day deadline, then reinstating them, then expanding them was a stroke of seven-dimensional chess. Brilliant. Like, it's his job. This is directly his job. Donald Trump fucked him. 2 days ago, Donald Trump basically destroyed this man. And he's over here being like, you don't understand. This is forward thinking. This is the kind of forward thinking that we need. Let's look at Cat Turd. He says, but tariffs don't work. Just in, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer seeks new trade deal with the United States to remove tariffs. You know what's really funny about this? This is Brexit. This is very similar to Brexit. There was at least like a lot of people that wanted Brexit, even though it is a unnecessary own goal, right? This is Amerixit. So it's hilarious that he's like, Cat Turd is like, hell yeah, we did it. Like, what do you mean? What do you... This is, I'm doing Brexit to you? No, but if you do Brexit to everyone, you're doing Brexit to yourself. You're the one who's Brexiting. Do you not understand? And it's funny because just like with Brexit, where England already had the sweetest deal with the EU, like just the sweetest deal with the European Union already, and simply exiting out of that partnership meant that they would have to go back to the table and get worse deals overall. This, unironically, is the same thing. America designed this entire global system at the behest of capital, and now it's just doing this exit that no one asked for with seemingly no good reason. Here's the hog opposite of that kind of pose. Yeah, bankers misquoting Lenin, sell everything. A text from the head of asset allocation at a major global bank regarding this week's news. What's the expression? There are weeks where decades happen. That could apply here. Why isn't Jay saying he's going to cut rates? Too soon to say? It's also falsely attributed to Lenin, but I like consistently attributing it to Lenin regardless because I think it's cool. It's a cool quote. No more Turkish barbers. This is the Brexit genius.
It's a barbers, that's not Turkish. What, a barbers that pays tax?
Yeah.
No, surely
we
not.
are the only one that takes card.
You're not.
Apparently.
You're going to tell me you actually have customers.
Yeah.
But there's literally thousands of them, isn't there, sprung up all over the country. Turkish barbers.
I know. It's ridiculous, isn't it? And there's only more coming as well.
Racket, the whole thing.
But lovely
Good.
to meet you.
Good luck.
Genuinely.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get in the chair. So there you are. We have found a barber's shop that doesn't have a Turkish sign out the front.
It's so funny because like all these dudes also look like lizards. Like every single one of these guys also unironically look like lizard people, which makes this whole thing even funnier because like even on the optics front, they failed. Like Nigel Farage has bad teeth for a British man. Okay. That's saying something. It's like being the most like conservative on the island. Okay. Asmongold is equating the tariff to Luigi Mangione. Amazing. I do want to know what Asmongold's take is on the tariffs. Is it based? Is it content president? Or is he reading the tea leaves and having to is he reading the tea leaves and having to reposition himself to say maybe it's not so based? Yeah. Well. You should warn Phineas that Nigel is coming after Turkish barbers in the UK. I agree. It's up. He was watching an old Bernie speech where Bernie was talking up protectionism. Yeah, it was right. It was right then. The concept in and of itself is right now. Except when Bernie makes that argument, he was trying to defend the pre-existing manufacturing capabilities of the United States of America. Bernie Sanders now probably has a different argument. Don't know what it is. But my argument back then would have been similar to Bernie Sanders's. And my argument now is that trade protectionism isn't wrong. Okay, it's not wrong. I am not a free trade defender. I don't like free trade. There is no such thing as long as inequality amongst nations exists, as long as we continue dominating the global south, there is no such thing as free trade. It's just beneficial for capital owners, and that's it. Having said that, what Trump is doing is fucking insane. It's not trade protectionism. It's just pure stupidity. It's like playing chess with a pigeon, okay? He's just knocking the board. That's all he's doing. He's like, fuck it.
That actually has customers and there's no Lamborghini out the back. Isn't that unusual in modern Britain? God, the stick I'm going to get for that.
Yeah, he said, our trade policy should benefit American workers, not just corporate CEOs. That includes targeted tariffs to stop corporations from outsourcing American jobs and factories. We do not need a blanket arbitrary sales tax that will raise prices on products that Americans need. Exactly. Because this is what Trump is doing is a blanket sales tax. It's regressive. It harms the working poor. It harms the working class in general. That's all this is. And so many people who are going to be paying the sales tax don't even understand that they're doing so. And the only reason why this is a blanket sales tax is because we don't have the competitive manufacturing, the domestic competitive manufacturing capacity. We don't have it. So people are like, okay, what am I supposed to do? All right, I'm an importer, okay? I sell t-shirts. I'm an importer. I sell car parts. Car parts not even the best example because like at least we have some capabilities here, but it's like, okay, I get coffee beans, you know? What am I supposed to do? Shit it out? Make my own coffee beans here? Like how am I supposed to do that? You know? I bring in bananas. What am I supposed to do? Grow bananas in my fucking backyard? What am I going to do? Vanilla. Yeah. Targeted protectionism to promote certain businesses is good, except exactly. Trump is not even protecting businesses that exist. He is quote unquote protecting businesses that don't exist yet and a manufacturing capacity that will take a decade to build if America already got serious about rebuilding its infrastructure and its manufacturing capabilities. It's so stupid. This temporary, I believe in America. I don't believe in America. Maybe Americans will learn not to base their identity off consumption. Americans will commit suicide en masse before they do that, okay? There is no other guiding principle here. There's nothing. We have no cultural signifiers. We have no sense of community. We are increasingly more isolated. We are atomized. There is nothing but the things that you consume. That's it. That's the only thing that creates a semblance of culture here that is everything to your identity, whether it be guns or Gucci purses or whatever the fuck it is, okay? It's what kind of Disney movies you watch. Every single thing. That is what makes up the average American's identity. Outside of that, you got like racism. I guess that's another one, but that's it. And this administration is taking away one of those things that makes up a ginormous percentage of people's identities and the way they see themselves. And I guess the only other sense of community you can get is from being a fucking white supremacist. So maybe they'll elevate that side a little bit more. Oh, yeah, it's who you protest. Everything is burger. Everything is gun burger. Burger gun. From the clout Americans go into debt to obtain.
I'm concerned. I mean, it's something that's over 80 years. We've had trade partners that we trusted, that they trusted us. And we've lost that over the course of 2 months or a month. So I am concerned. I'm retired, and that concerns me. As anything we lose now on the market, we've got covered.
I pay attention to the tariffs.
Yeah, there's also effects and necessity, not just treats. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I agree. Of course, this also will impact. Like, that's why I said banana. It's not a fucking treat. Okay, banana is not a treat. Food is not a treat. It's a necessity for survival. Burgles, thank you for the 50 gifted subs. Speaking of treats, that's a treat. 50 gifted subs. Getting a gifted sub to your favorite content creator is a treat. Okay? That's what it is. And you can get it for $6 or for free with a Twitch Prime, as long as you still have your Amazon Prime. You can connect it to your Twitch Prime account and get one free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster. Hopefully that is me. That is I. Or you can get gifted a sub. Subscriptions, support the broadcast. PBS, the Piker Broadcasting Service, is sponsored by you, the people. The many subscribers are the ones who maintain the Piker Broadcasting Service's independence.
I think if they could bring more jobs to Americans, people in the United States, then I think it's great. But I don't want to see it to hurt the people in the United States. And I have stocks on the market and everything else, and I don't want to hurt that either. But
you're a long way from home, sir. What the hell are you doing in New York City? I got stocks in the stock market and cattle back at the ranch.
Sometimes you have to give the receive. What overseas is doing to the United States, that's wrong. Whether it's any kind of business, whether it's your business, my business, or anybody's, that's wrong. And hopefully these tariffs, I know what he's trying to do, these tariffs will help the people with businesses, break the business stronger, make the people that's working and everything else, you know, they can come back and make a decent living.
I mean, I feel nervous for our household budget with 2 kids, especially living in San Francisco, which is one of the most expensive cities in this country. I wonder what our grocery bill is going to be like. I wonder if we can afford to upgrade our car when it breaks down.
Yeah, he flew into New York City to check on his stocks personally. He's like, I went down there to see the stock market. I needed to see the trading floor. Back in my day, that's how we handled the cattle. And that's how I'm handling my stocks too.
All those things are on my mind. I think
made sure that my stockbroker's got all of his teeth in his mouth. I opened it up. I said, they say don't look a gift horse in the mouth, but I'm going to look at this one. I'll tell you what.
It's really going to hurt our pocketbook.
Well, I manage our stock portfolio. So I viewed it today, and I'm not going to say how much it was down, but it was down 6 figures, that's our retirement. That's our kids. Yeah. That's our kids' schooling, their college, everything. I'm super concerned that there's going to be a recession or a depression, and it's gonna hurt the investments that we spent so long creating for our family and for our future. So yeah, I'm nervous for sure.
I think it's business as usual, and business as usual has never been good for vulnerable people.
How are you feeling about the markets right now?
Not great.
Anxious?
Optimistic.
Worried.
Terrified.
It's not too clear what's going to happen in the future, in the near future, long-term future.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of uncertainty.
Now business and politics are even more transparently aligned. Historically, they at least pretended for a while.
We have to understand that there's a lot of implications and all this.
Bro, hella people started getting woke all of a sudden. What's going on?
Implications are certainly in the short term are not good for the economy.
Someone once said to me, the only days that matter are the day you buy and the day you sell. So I try not to let the kind of daily or weekly up and downs get to me.
Yeah, this is a little bit more than a daily or weekly up and down, don't you think? Like, he's not wrong, but this is a unique situation. There's a little bit of a unique situation where it's like, You know, you can hit zero. It's fucked up.
Too much.
3 months in, by the way. Just want to point that out again. Based, content, president, things are getting chaotic. Also, 3 months in. Just want to point that out again. I will keep pointing that out as every single day passes if we make it that far. But we are only 3 months in to the Burger Reich.
I'm not making any big moves. Just going to kind of wait and see how.
It turns out the fucking stock market was also held together by unfettered homosexuality. We eliminate the woke. We eliminate transgender ideology. And look what happens. Planes falling out of the fucking sky. The stock market is plunging harder than the fucking planes that are plunging from out of the sky. It turns out DEI or die, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and non-binaries. Every single part of American society was held together by woke. These guys went to war with woke, and look where that got us. Time to make sure every single person is trans, gay, non-binary, in a wheelchair, veteran status, if that's technically a part of DEI as well. DEIA. Women only. Women only.
Plays out, but it's certainly a little disconcerting.
My stocks aren't doing too well, so I don't feel good about it. I'm hoping that there's going to be some positive changes soon, and that there's some checks and regulations where the situation can be managed.
I just, think about ultimately what's important to me, and it's not, the value of a particular stock or index, and that's, my family and friends, and that's what's most important.
There's implications of his intentions, and there's implications of his unintended consequences.
Vulnerable people were always unsafe, and now they're made even more vulnerable. He's bringing a lot of groups that historically have been safe, a lot of elites, academics, into these kind of struggles. My concern is that those folks, instead of pushing left and supporting one another, are going to instead try to make concessions, and historically that never benefits anyone.
No! No!
I don't regret voting for Trump.
Wait, no. Americans react to tariff price increases.
No! No!
That's amazing.
I don't regret voting for Trump.
Donald Trump's tariffs means almost everything that is imported into the United States is expected to become more expensive, including stuff Americans really love, like beer and Maccas, because Ronald McDonald
Maccas and beer
uses Aussie beef.
No!
There's something wrong with that dude's eyes, bro. I'm sorry. That is creepy. Motherfucker's eyes will light up an entire room. Don't look at me with them sweet baby blues, dude. Holy fuck.
Ronald McDonald uses Aussie beef.
No! No!
You just straight look. Damon! Terrifying the people.
No!
You're upset about it?
No! Wait, are you actually being serious? This affects the political, economic state of the world right now.
No, please. Oh, no, my gosh. I need to call my mom. Wait.
Oh my God. The fucking Zoomers can't be serious for a second. You know these are fucking FaZe Clan watchers too. Like, they are behaving exactly like fucking Ronaldo, stable Ronaldo. Just irony poison Zoomers doing skits on Australian news.
I'm so serious. Oh my gosh, bro.
Okay, maybe those boys weren't that worried about it, but think about it. Every business that sells goods imported from overseas, they're going to probably have to jack up their prices. That florist, it sells flowers from Colombia and Ecuador. Those dry cleaners there use chemicals from overseas. That kebab shop, that lamb is from Australia and New Zealand. The estimate is American families will likely have to spend as much as $4,000 US more a year. I'm out here in Sun Valley,
As an Australian, we don't let this guy look at people in the street, too distracting. Yeah, that's why they shipped his ass to America. Also, I miss the Aussie boys so much. I told Alexa he has to fucking come out. He's like, finally, I've gotten in a good groove of like making videos again. And I was like, if you come to LA, I will whip you. I will whip you every day to make sure that you put fucking videos out.
For Donald Trump, he tells me that he's now worried for his children's welfare.
Things are tough already as it is with inflation and cost of living, but an extra $4,000 just out of the blue for not really anything material, just gonna be very tough. I don't regret voting for Trump.
Oh my God. Dude, it's just like, it's super basic to just be like, yeah, I did something wrong. It's okay. It just, please, for the love of Christ and all things holy, it is healthy and good to be like, I think I fucked up. It's fine. Okay? It's fine. This to me is troublesome because it shows me that these guys will never change. These guys will never, ever, ever in a million years go, yeah, this was bad. It's like Trump is infallible, dude.
But I hope he's, not going to be so tough with this.
It makes most of its money from the cruise ships, but Port Canaveral also calls itself Central Florida's gateway to global commerce. Now, with President Trump's tariffs on all international imports.
It's our declaration of economic independence.
I'm here wondering how our local economy could be impacted.
I think it's time that we put tariffs in because it has worked against us for so many years. Would I say maybe in moderation? Yes, but I think ultimately it will help the United States of America.
After President Trump imposed the tariffs, our reporter Mike Valenti talked to an economics professor who had a much different opinion than the local couple I met.
You're making it even more expensive for people who create jobs and serve customers and who buy goods and services.
Through just the first few months of the year, the port says it's already taken in a total of
I feel like I'm living in this weird, bizarre world where I'm supposed to be defending the trade protectionist actions. These guys are supposed to keep saying the same things that they're saying, but I'm supposed to be going, no, you don't understand. We built a robust network of manufacturing capabilities. It is now our time to rebuild the American labor force. It's fantastic. But we're living in the shittiest version of the world where, like, Trump is doing things, once again, that you would normally do after you've done the other things that I just mentioned. And because he's doing that before, those guys, the worst guys, are correct. The worst guys in the world that love defending free trade are technically correct.
More than 2 million tons of cargo.
If you're a country seeking tariff relief, Dr. Don is ready to see you. While the market suffered from some side effects of taking...
Oh my God. God, I hope his fucking stock portfolio is wiped out, dude. These guys are such assholes. I hope that this is like the breakaway point for so many of these conservative dick riders that watch Fox News every day and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? The markets are suffering a little bit. Like, yeah, notice the lack of ticker. Yeah, of course, they removed the ticker from the... There's no reason to look at the stock market, famously. It's just not.
Tariff medicine. President Trump was seeking phenomenal offers and ready to deal. Vietnam just got their checkup. After getting slapped with one of the highest tariff rates, all it took was one phone call. And Trump says Nam is open to having zero tariffs. And if you believe Dr. Don's ready
from 5% to zero.
Operate on every country mooching off Uncle Sam. But as usual, Democrats in the media are flatlining and taking off their shoes like a...
Democrats in the media are flatlining? Bitch, you're flatlining. Anyone who's paying it... You know what's flatlining? Everyone's stocks, dumbass. We designed a system where there's no pensions, there's no social security, and therefore everyone has to rely on the fucking stock market, and it makes everybody feel like they have a say in the process when they clearly do not. Then all of a sudden, after you design the entire economy to be financialized, you turn around and you fuck the stock market and you're like, don't look at the stocks, it's fine. Oh, Democrats are hysterical here. Come on, 30% of your 401k wiped out overnight. That's not that big of a deal. How low can it go, really?
Greg, think it's an exciting time to be alive. We have rewired the entire world in a way we haven't seen in 100 years. And it's great. And hopefully it works out. I haven't looked at my 401k today. I'm going to look at it tomorrow. Actually, maybe not. I won't look at it for another month. But you just, as he said, have to remain calm. He ran. Greg.
I'm stuck here in Palm Springs, and I can tell you that all these retired millionaires out here are watching Fox News and are crapping their pants. Good. Great. What is this? Asmongold's thoughts on the tariffs? Every other post on here is the usual anti-woke crusaders. China imposes 34% tariffs. Trade wars begin. Well, I guess 2007 wasn't that bad. Oh my God. Wait, is this the moment? Is this the jump off point? Is this the moment where people are jumping ship? The rats, are they escaping? I told you, the one thing that Americans care about, they're so fucking selfish. They're so hopped up on hyper individualism and American exceptionalism that you hit them in their fucking pocketbook and they will scream, dude. You take away their treats, they will fucking scream. No, they are not. Lamau, what is this? Will tariffs make the U.S. better or worse? 57% better. Okay, I don't. That's the crash has just begun. Oh yeah, major single day S&P 500 drops. Yeah, let's check back on Monday. See what's really good. Okay, we're just here. We are just here. We are in the beginning phases of the fucking wipeout. The great American. The glorious American wipeout. Don't look at your 401k, by the way.
It's a code blue in the spin room.
Here is a shoe. It's my shoe, right? It is made in China. You talked about these luxury products.
They are.
Right, but you take your shoe off and see where it's made.
Yes.
Made in China, made in Vietnam. This is going to be 34% more expensive.
Made one of the dumbest decisions he's ever made as president.
The tariffs don't even go into effect until Monday. This is all speculation. Yeah. Oh, that's true. No, don't the tariffs start tomorrow? Technically, it starts on Saturday, but the market opens on Monday.
And that's saying a lot.
What Donald Trump has announced in terms of his tariffs is just...
Why are they posting this compilation? These people are right. Are you trying to make them look good? This is the thing I don't understand. This is truly the thing I don't understand. It's like when the only opportunity on focus group polls is like Hamas or Israel, okay? And it's like people end up choosing the only option that is not Israel. And then you look at that poll and you freak out and you're like, what the fuck? A quarter of the students support Hamas unconditionally. What the fuck? It's like, well, you designed the poll that way. You're in defense of an objectively bad thing. You are basically presenting your opposing ideological enemies, criticizing that objectively bad thing at a time when most people are going to not agree with you. They're going to look to this and go, oh my God, I agree with Pocahontas. Maybe she wasn't all that bad or all that wrong. I don't think that polarization is that deep that people are so unimaginably polarized that they forget what it looks like in their pocketbooks, where they forget like how red their 401k looks like. Now, this doesn't mean that there aren't people that still will abide by that cultish thinking. I'm not saying that at all. There's going to be cultish people. I've told you this, and I want to see them. I want you to send me those cultists. That's why I wanted to see what Asmongold's community was reacting to this to this news as. I wanted to see what their reaction was because it's awesome. I want to see what the online hogs, the gaming neats are thinking.
Just plain dumb.
I began to understand how this is the only guy in America that could bankrupt multiple casinos.
So what's the recovery plan for the patient? Well, more U.S. manufacturing and jobs. This former auto worker says the tariffs are working and the so-called experts are all wrong.
Nobody was crying these crocodile tears when they were closing the Mound Road engine plant that Chrysler had in Macomb County, or the Romeo engine plant in Romeo, Michigan in Macomb County. But all of a sudden, now that we're trying to bring these products back,
yeah, gamers think Nintendo is actually retaliating against the tariffs. It's 100% Nintendo's fault, using something not related to try and justify their greed. Something not related. Donald Trump implemented a fucking 48% tariff on the country that Nintendo moved his manufacturing to avoid the previous tariffs that they thought China was going to be facing. And these guys are literally going, nah, dude, go learn how tariffs actually work and then come back. Tariffs are an entry fee, but Nintendo has to care about the cost at the end point when the consumer is purchasing it. That's why they say this new console is going to be $499. And then when it arrives at your doorstep, that's what you pay for it when you get it on Amazon. Okay. What are we doing? Yeah, of course they have to reconsider what the price point is going to look like, because they don't just go, this is going to be $499 and then it's actually $600 when it comes to your doorstep. Like that's not how this works. They have to reconsider their entire deployment strategy. They have to reconsider everything. They have to reconsider the games. Direct Asman quote, "It's an intimidation tactic. There are countries who can't afford to play ball like this, and he's weeding them out. We need U.S. manufacturing for the automation takeover in 20 years. What? This is my favorite Asmongold moment when he tries to make sense. Like when he tries to come up with a reason. It's awesome. It's doubly awesome because he's like trying to make sense of something so stupid and so senseless in a way that makes Trump look brilliant and playing 5D chess. Yeah, awesome.
Components in these vehicles back to the United States. All of a sudden, all the so-called experts are saying it's going to plunge us into recession and be terrible for the economy.
And once upon a time, Democrats used to love tariffs.
It's also
that's why I said Obama started this.
Proper for advanced economies like the United States to insist on reciprocity from nations like China that are no longer solely poor countries, to make sure that they're providing access to their markets.
The average U.S. MFN tariff on Chinese goods coming into the United States is 2%, whereas the average China...
By the way, Democrats talking about tariffs in 1996 is very different than Obama talking about it once, Chinese manufacturing has become a complete project. Make no mistake. Democrats engaging in trade protectionism used to be the only game in town. They used to do that. Meanwhile, of course, Democrats also sold off the manufacturing capabilities. They played a formative role in shipping American jobs to neighboring nations, obviously. But it's still a different perspective back then. And it is kind of sad, however, that like Democrats back then were also kind of anti-war as well. At least there were like Democrats in caucuses that were outwardly anti-war, anti-American empire, trying to hold back the executive power. It's all gone now. It's all fucking gone. It's crazy. Democrats are all for free trade now. They're all for endless wars now. It just sucks. It sucks to see.
Chinese MFN tariff on U.S. goods going into China is 35%. Is that reciprocal? The fact is that U.S.-China trade is a job loser.
Obama made sense. Yowza, what a woman. Obama made sense. China does not allow Western companies to operate there independently. Same should apply to Chinese companies in the East. Okay. Yeah, that would have been a good argument to make in the fucking 80s and 90s. You can't make that argument 40 years after the fact, big dog. What are you saying? The fuck do you mean? Also, America doesn't allow Chinese companies to operate independently in America. What are you saying? What are you talking about? Look at Huawei. The fuck? We already do that. So you're wrong. Look at what's happening with Tic Tac right now. There's a reason why you can't get BYD cars. Explain Panda Express then? True. My bad. You're right.
Well, someone snuck into the country before the tariffs went up. Piers Morgan. Guess now we're stuck with you.
You might be. I mean, you think you're joking. I turned 60 on Sunday, and I thought that would be the worst thing that happened to me.
Wait, I'm old.
Really?
That's amazing.
By how many decades?
Boy, we are better looking in America. What?
No, I thought that would be the most difficult thing I had to deal with this week. And now I discover I'm so poor, having been in America for 1 week, I may not be able to afford to leave. So, Jesse, I thought I'd come and chip on your sofa. What do you think?
No, there's no room, Piers.
Yeah.
But how do you think this is affecting...
Make Nintendo sell to America. All right, hold on. I'll call my uncle. He works at Nintendo. Everything's computer. I love Nintendo.
Not just you, because I know it's all about you, Piers, but how do you think it's affecting people in this country? And when I say this country, I mean the U.S.
Well, look, unlike 99% of people on social media, I am 100% certain I have no idea if this is going to work. So everyone is either completely sure it's the greatest transformation thing we've ever seen in economic history, or a complete and utter disaster. And it seems to me like with a lot of things that Trump does, probably best to just take a beat.
I'm sorry, but the people that are speculating that this is a complete and utter disaster at least have something to point to beyond blind faith in a man that does not deserve it. Because the people that are saying, well, I don't know if this will work, but if it does, it's going to be amazing. They are not pointing to anything tangible beyond their own personal admiration for Donald Trump. That's it. The people, at least, that are going, this is a catastrophe, are looking at the immediate market reaction. They have things that they can point to make their point. People that are defending it do not. Okay? From a Goldman Sachs investor survey I did today, this is 240 respondents, all clients. This is a pretty good read on where the street is. Tariff, in your view, what is the most likely outcome of announced tariffs? What is this? C, tariffs will be reduced within 3 months. 15%, tariffs will be reduced within a month. No view, 3%. 10% say F, tariffs could go higher via retaliation. Oh my God. Dude, imagine the wall just got 10 feet higher. The tariffs just got 10% higher. These retaliatory tariffs. Tariff is the most beautiful word in the English language. I did not say tariffs are the most beautiful word in the Chinese language. I said English language. The Chinese are using tariff in Mandarin. No retaliatory tariffs. How dare you? We will increase the tariffs. We will make the suburbs scream. Hell yeah.
Wait a bit. See how this plays out. In particular, see how all the countries respond. You're already beginning to see some movement with some of these countries racing to do a deal with Trump. If enough of them start to do that, you'll see the markets, who are basically like a bunch of lemmings running over a cliff at the best of times, they will roar back at the first sign that any of this appears to be working. However, and I think it's an important caveat, this is one hell of a roll of the dice. Because if you're out there and you're already struggling from a cost of living crisis, and you've got savings and maybe you've got some stocks and so on, you are looking at this and you're worried, you're concerned for your family, concerned how you're going to afford stuff. And I think that Trump has got to look at this very carefully, and he's got to pull out the art of the deal in spectacular fashion. Now, I would just say I wouldn't bet against him. I look at what he's done with the southern border in 2 months, which has been little short of miraculous, and he's had hardly any credit for it. So I'm prepared to give him a little bit of time and a chance, and I think everybody should, to see if this works. But if in 2 months' time it's not working, the pain could be pretty enormous, and that could be presidency threatening. So the stakes are high.
It does look like a gamble to us, Greg, but the president doesn't see it that way at all. He seems relaxed.
No, because...
Oh, my God. Yes, dude, because he doesn't care. Because I don't think he cares about anything. I think he's behaving like a man who is not worried about re-election or even the midterms or even what might happen to him in the short term. He's moving around like he's going to be here for a while, okay? He's getting his ass comfortable. He's golfing. It's fucking
by the
over.
way, I mean, he actually said this was going to happen. The media acts like it's a big surprise, but he said, yeah, there might be a rough patch at the beginning of the stock market. He's like the pilot that says, yeah, you know, it's going to be a little bumpy when we're going up, but then it's going to smooth out and we'll get you home safely.
Yeah, that pilot is Mohammed Atta, okay? Yeah, he's just like a pilot on 9/11, 2001, on a flight that's supposed to be going to fucking Boston, okay? That's the kind of pilot he is. The kind of pilot who says, I don't need to learn how to land this thing. I just need to learn how to commandeer it a little bit.
The media is the guy that sits next to you, and every single thud of turbulence goes, we're all going to die. Pierce is right. It's like we're only getting a half opinion. The half opinion is look at the stock market go down. They don't say, well, you know, it goes back up. I mean, I know.
Amazing. Yeah, come on. That's just what's happening right now. Why are you focusing on that? Think about how good things could be later down the line. Amazing.
Oh, Nancy Pelosi, net worth $270 million. Since the tariffs, she's lost $7 million, or about 2.5%. Do you think she's okay? I think so. She's going to get that money back in time for Botox season. Money moves around, and a half opinion is when an idiot tells you it just goes down. And for example, I couldn't tell you what the stock market was last week, the week before that, because you don't look at it. I'm perplexed by the notion that all tariffs are bad when countries put tariffs on our products. It's a tool that is used in specific environments. Not all environments, some. For example.
Wait, no, yeah, I agree. I can't believe I'm agreeing with Greg Buttfeld, except, you know, that's not what Trump did. Trump didn't do that. Are you wishing for a different Trump tariff initiative than the one that we got? Because the one we got that you're trying to defend is not the thing that you claim is happening. This unironically cuts across the argument that you're trying to make here. If your argument is like, oh, it's good that tariffs are happening, Trump is doing a great job, you can't turn around and be like, well, some tariffs are good, and it's okay when it's like very specific. This is not specific. It's unspecific.
If I were to punch Jesse in the face here, that would be bad. You know, you don't beat up people. Well, for some, you know what? You changed my mind. But if it were a boxing match, yes. So in a boxing match, you don't tell your opponent, hey, the right cross.
Yeah, Trump didn't do that. You're describing punching someone, okay? You're describing the process of punching someone, but Trump didn't punch someone. He punched himself, okay? And then you know, people in his corner. He punched his fucking coach in the face. He punched the water boy and himself in the process. He didn't really punch anybody else yet.
Is off the table because he's not going to agree with you. So in these negotiations, you know, he's using an asset. Trump is using an asset that wasn't being used before. So he's making, again, an asset out of nothing. And he's introducing it to keep our trading partners off balance so they make a deal on our terms. If you look at NATO, Greenland, the Panama Anal, you know, they all woke up to the Trump alarm clock. The best part about this is they start negotiating with themselves first before they even get to the table. Trump, we don't even have to lift a finger because uncertainty through action gets people moving in your direction even before you meet them. It's because it's all beginning at a standstill. It's inert. You're dealing with inertia. So it's already a win. We're already getting results.
Yeah, because Vietnam called and they want to drop their duties down to zero, Katie. So that guy's Nikes that he just held up, they're not going to go up at all.
Yeah. No, they are. Unless Trump revokes the tariffs on Vietnam. Do you not understand? We're 3 months in. Trump has been talking about tariffs for a year. Vietnam reducing their tariffs from 5% to 0% does nothing to the American consumers. The only thing that will change the price point that American consumers will be able to purchase these things is if Trump goes, oh, you reduce your tariffs from 5% to 0%. Guess what? We're no longer tariffing you at like 34% or whatever the fuck we're doing. If Trump still goes, hey, actually, fuck you, I'm going to keep the tariffs, then you're still paying more. Oh my God. Also, love this. Q Patriot 07, buy American. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet this motherfucker is not buying American at all? Makes sense to me? Yeah, it makes sense to me too, brother. You want to know why? You want to know the quickest way to buy American? Is if you go to ideology.shop and purchase this. Because not only is my fucking product American made, it's also made in a union shop, okay? Because unlike these fucking Republican assholes, I do care about these sorts of things, okay? I put my money where my mouth is. So shut the fuck up. I'm not talking about that. Yeah, it's great to buy American. How are you going to buy bananas that are American? How are you going to buy vanilla that's American? How are you going to buy certain fucking parts and certain raw materials when they're not being grown here? What are you going to do? Grow it in your fucking backyard? Buy American medicine, dumbass. It's like, okay, we don't make it here. What are you supposed to do? What do you do for a couple months in this time frame? What do you do? What do you do for, like, let's say the 2 years that we don't have manufacturing capabilities increased to make up for the medicine that we're getting from overseas that are now even higher at a higher price point? Yeah, I know he posted about me. Brotherhood of Teamsters. Yeah. Do you know if the cotton is ethically sourced? I expect the t-shirts are from Bayside Apparel. They are. If so, they're the largest vertically integrated t-shirt apparel manufacturer in the U.S. They use U.S. grown cotton. What happens on those farms, I do not know. Yeah, Hasan must be selling his merch at even price, not getting profit out of his merch, probably doing it for his fans. Unlike others looking to make a profit while using American made, having to hike up the price 10x than what Hasan is selling them for. Yeah. There is like a very, very narrow profit margin for them. And in most circumstances, well, I have to cut a deal with the company that is helping me produce it. And we usually send those profits like we've done for fundraisers, like we did it for races in Texas for offering legal counsel and help to undocumented migrants. But he's annoying. Do you ship to outside of the USA? We do. Get him. Ideology.shop. The Capitalism is Voluntary t-shirt was restocked after people demanded it over and over again. Yeah, get it before the tariffs kick in. The retaliatory tariffs kick in.
Well, that's because Vietnam needs access to the American market to keep their country afloat, which is why they're calling and asking to negotiate. When President Trump made his trip to China in 2017, this was a topic of discussion. And I was actually there a week after he was in the country. And the number one complaint from the Commerce Department was there's no reciprocity here on anything, not to mention goods. We're trying to get into the Chinese market. We're not allowed to. We're not allowed to send the product without having a tax. So this has been an issue that the president addressed in his first term kind of as a test, and it worked out fine. So now they're going full force with his actual plan for tariffs, which includes a number of things outside of just what you saw happening on Wednesday. It's tax cuts, it's deregulation, it's spending cuts. And when you look at these Democrats who like Nancy Pelosi used to believe in exactly what he's saying, it shows that for so many years they were always willing to talk about this, but never willing to take the political risk to actually stand up for the people they said they were going to the mat for. I mean, Elizabeth Warren.
I mean, they're not wrong. They're not wrong on this. Democrats are fucking the free trade party now. Like so are the Republicans. Even though at least the Republicans right now, because of their unholy allegiance with Donald Trump, have to make it seem like they're for Trump's tariffs, which I categorize as something different than trade protectionism. But I do think that it's lame as fuck that Democrats are not saying anything about this. That like Democrats are not using this as an opportunity to be like, we are the real anti-free trade party. The issue here is not tariffs. The issue here is how he's doing it and for what purpose he's doing it.
This is a woman who has said that she's for the.
Ironic that out of all the right-wing Make It American people, you are actually doing it. Yes, day one too. Since day fucking one, I've never had merchandise that wasn't made in the United States of America. Ironically enough.
The workers, and she's for the little guy, and she's for the people who are actually doing the work for the big corporations. And yet she's against any of this because Trump is putting his name on it. When you look at the people who were in the Rose Garden on Wednesday with their hard hats and their union membership, Elizabeth Warren wasn't there. It could have been a great bipartisan event, and yet it wasn't. Finally, the 401ks and Wall Street, the majority or half of the country is invested in some type of investment. So to say that it's not a big deal that people are looking at their investments, that it's not hurting. People do hedge home purchases, for example, against their investments, and they're worried. However, it's been 2 days since this was implemented. There's a broader picture here for what they have planned. So let's see what happens as these world leaders continue to call the White House and try to negotiate their rates.
Yeah, next week, Judge, it could bounce right back.
Yeah, and I think that what Piers was saying when you said it was a roll of the dice, and, we don't know whether it's going to work or it's not going to work. When you think about the guy who is throwing the dice, okay, you've got a guy who took care of the caliphate in a few weeks that was driving the world crazy. You've got the southern border, as you say so accurately, is now nobody's crossing the border. We got numbers today. We now have manufacturing coming back to the United States, $1 trillion. He's gotten foreign investments into this country. So when you start reading all the tea leaves, he's setting up the game. Everything is starting to coalesce. And just today, what I read out from, Vietnam, he's willing to say, hey, we we need you. I'm willing to go to zero. Jeep and Ram is now selling all of their vehicles to Americans at employee prices. Ford is selling vehicles to Americans at employee prices. And then you've got the pausing of the minivans and Jeeps being made in Mexico and Canada because they realize that that's not going to work anymore, that they're going to have to make them in the United States. And, you know, the uncertainty in the stock market, it isn't necessarily a negative. It can be an indication that things are going to work out. It's just that they're uncertain right now. And you got a president who's swinging for the fences. You got a president who's punching, as opposed to the other guy who put, $5 trillion into the economy and caused inflation that this president now has to deal with. And the American industries have been getting killed. And today we heard about the shrimp industry. I didn't know anything about it. But 94% of the shrimp in this country comes from Southeast Asia and Ecuador. And they don't have any of the protections. They're pond-raised, farm-raised, illegal hormones, antibiotics, slave trade, all that stuff. And yet we keep protecting these other countries, defending them, giving them money, and we're basically saying, sock us in the face again. No more. It's time for the American worker to survive.
No more shrimp dumping.
No.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interview.
Incredible stuff. Scott Jennings. Oh, thank God. My king. My glorious king, Scott Jennings. He is going to gloriously defend this, right? He must. He must. I can't wait. I can't wait to hear what Scott has to say. What brilliant take Scott has on this, on the issue of the tariffs.
Months ago, had this screening of Ronald Reagan. And I went for the movie. And they should have another screening. And they should play Ronald Reagan on tariffs. And Ronald Reagan will say, it seems like the patriotic thing to do. But those people in Congress, they're just bowing to special interests, and tariffs always raise rates. They cause inflation. They hurt.
Why is Ro Khanna fucking bringing up Ronald Reagan and his attitude towards why? Ro Khanna, oh God, I'm skipping this. I can't deal. I can't even entertain it. I can't even entertain it.
Yeah, Joe, look, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. We can spend a lot of time, kind of like who lost Vietnam, we can spend a lot of time debating what happened in the 90s and the early 2000s and how we ended up with a much larger trade deficit and many fewer manufacturing jobs. But what's done is done, and now we are.
The only thing you can point to with Ronald Reagan is amnesty. That's it. Or you can point to like how much discourse has devolved since the Reagan era. Okay? That's it. There's nothing else. He has done nothing good. He's right. It will help show the Republicans by showing Reagan. What are you talking about? Ro Khanna, as a Democrat, should not be for free trade. That's my point.
Where we are, and the question is, where do we go from here? And the market's answer very clearly is we don't go in this direction, that this is not going to be productive. It is simply going to hurt our economy. So let's take a look at a couple of those numbers. Let's start with the stock market yesterday. We talked about the almost 5% drop. This is actually $5 trillion of wealth lost since the inauguration. The stock market had already been starting to go down as people got more and more nervous about what Trump was or wasn't going to do. So a huge drop. But here's what's actually quite interesting. The stock market drop here was actually larger than the stock market drop in every other major index, every other major country. In Japan, it was down 2.8%.
No, that's good.
In Europe, it was down 2.6%.
You see, you don't understand. That's a good thing. Is this what started all of this? Donald J. Trump lost an auction in 1988 for a 58-key piano using the classic film Casablanca to a Japanese trading company representing a collector. While he brushed off being outbid, it was a first-hand reminder of Japan's growing wealth. And the following year, Mr. Trump went on television to call for a 15% to 20% tax on imports from Japan. I believe very strongly in tariffs, Mr. Trump, at the time, a Manhattan real estate developer with fledgling political instincts told the journalist Diana Sawyer before criticizing Japan, West Germany, Saudi Arabia, and South Korea for their trade practices. America's being ripped off, he said. We're a debtor nation, and we have to pay tax, we have to tariff, we have to protect this country. Yeah, I don't think this is where it started. Reagan actually said tariffs are bad. Yeah, of course Reagan said that. Reagan is a neoliberal monster. Yeah, I know. I don't think tariffs are bad. Especially in the Reagan era. Especially when there was at least more manufacturing here. What is going on? If I didn't know anything about anything, I would on principle oppose whatever the fuck Ronald Reagan did, okay? Just on principle.
In the UK, just 1.6, and in China...
Kaya's embarrassed about your defense of Ronald Reagan. She turned her back to the stream.
China, just 0.6%. So why is that? Trump thinks he's hurting all these people. He thinks everything is, a negotiation where somebody wins and somebody loses, and he thought he was the winner, and we turned out to be the loser. And the answer is because...
You're really not dodging those MAGA communist allegations with that, Hossie? Yeah, I am a MAGA communist, through and through.
Based on a set of projections from the Budget Lab up in New Haven, we are the loser. The impact of this, the long-run impact on GDP of this, is actually going to be, projected anyway, to be worst on the U.S. of any other major country that we trade with, except for Canada. Canada has a special problem. They export a lot of oil to us. We are net oil exporters, but we do bring in some Canadian oil for complicated reasons I'll spare you. But essentially, they believe that we will have the worst economic impact. What actually could be positive in the UK, Trump's tariffs on the UK are only 10% among the lowest. The EU, a tenth of a percent, Mexico, a tenth, and so on. And China, only negative 0.2, because these countries have other things they can do. Their consumers are not going to be paying the cost of these tariffs because they're on the other side of it, and therefore they are actually going to have slightly better economies than they would have had. So the irony is we're the worst. And yes, in terms of that JP Morgan projection, I think we are definitely in the 50%, 60% recession odds for this year. This economy is going to soften materially.
Yeah, Goldman Sachs bumped up their probability of a recession as well. Had been a long shot about a week ago, not so much now. Let's move to your second chart, Steve, putting this into some historical perspective. Yes, Democrats in the past have advocated for tariffs, targeted tariffs. Joe Biden had them in place as recently as a few months ago. But we've never seen anything quite like this.
No, we haven't, Willie. And so since we're talking in history, well, I'll just start there a little bit. And you can see back in 1980, tariffs have been coming down for a long time since World War II. But you can see in 1980, we have, a meaningful tariff rate. But then this is what Joe was talking about. All the trade agreements brought our tariff rate down, down, down to just around 2%. This circle is Trump-Biden. You can see Trump did some tariffs in his first term. Tariff rate went up a little bit. This in the first term, this is all that happened. Biden brought them down part way.
Your ops fans are cooking you harder than the market?
Can't take it anymore.
Come on. Come on. Why are you cooking me like this? Why are you cooking me like this?
Can't take it anymore.
Yeah, I'll repost it. Sagging in the big 2025 is crazy, Haas. Chill, dude. Chill.
And now we have this. And this, going across here, this is 1909. The last time we had tariffs at this level was in 1909. Now, many of us studied in school about the recession and about how we put tariffs on. Some say that it caused the recession. It didn't, but it exacerbated the recession. The famous Smoot-Hawley tariffs. That tariff rate here was actually a little under 20%. So these are not only the highest tariff rates we've had in more than a century, but higher than we had when we had what every historian would tell you were the worst tariffs we've ever put in place until now. So let's turn to some of the individual impacts, because obviously the market goes down, but all the other stocks do different things. And so we had a fairly disparate impact. And there are good reasons, and I'm not going to go through all these, but I'll give you a couple of examples. Nike down 14%. all of, I shouldn't say all, probably virtually all of their clothing and their shoes and their sneakers and so forth are made in Southeast Asia, which have some of the highest tariff rates, as we'll talk about in a minute. Boeing is a huge exporter of planes to other countries. Those countries can now buy Airbuses. Could be really bad for Boeing's business. Apple makes virtually every iPhone that they sell in China. 54% tariff coming into effect there. Amazon, you would be surprised at how many packages you order from Amazon that are actually shipped directly to you from somewhere overseas where they're made, and a high tariff will now be paid. JP Morgan, the banks could be facing pressure for another reason, and so on and so forth. I'll just mention quickly down here, Walmart and Costco. Why did they do comparatively well? Because they have such buying power that they are likely to be able to hold down their price increases and take market share.
Yeah, so this is also important to recognize. Also, really fucked up how the stock market works in such insidious, indecent ways, where Walmart and Costco are wholesale purchasers, so they can just go to foreign manufacturers and be like, we are buying so much product from you that you have to pay the cost of these tariffs on your end. And then they can continue pumping product without major increases of cost carried over to the consumer. Meanwhile, if you are in any way, shape, or form smaller than these mega corporations, you're fucking cooked, which will, of course, consolidate the market in favor of Walmart and Costco. At which point, the reason why they're not taking a major hit here in the stock market is because analysts look at that and go, well, this will be beneficial because it will further monopolize the grocery chains and maybe even allow Walmart to eat away at Amazon's market share. Because even though Amazon also purchases things, it doesn't purchase it in bulk in the same way that Walmart does. Because there's a lot of stuff that Amazon directly ships from China, rather than when they're, bulk purchasing for Whole Foods, for example, or Amazon Fresh facilities.
From other retailers.
All right, let's move to your last chart, Steve, and it's time for a little math, because the Trump administration has been selling some of the numbers he put up as tariffs that these other countries, including allies, have placed on us, when really it's just kind of a trade deficit that they used funky math to come up with. So help our viewers understand the numbers that the administration is presenting.
Well, I'm going to do my best to help, but
another thing they can do, yes, is that they can also make the supplier pay the increase and still increase the prices because everyone else is increasing their prices, so they can take advantage of the market too, which is what a lot of domestic manufacturers will do regardless.
Get them through math class either. The economics wouldn't get through economics class. The math isn't going to get through math class. But let's talk about what they did. So first of all, just to put some stark numbers next to it, you can see these are our top trading partners. European, and what the tariff rates are going to be. European 20%. China is actually now 54% because he added 20% earlier in the year, so that gets up to 54. Japan 24, South Korea 25, Taiwan 32. You'll notice China, Mexico, and Canada are not on here because he did separate deals with them also, and they will pay some tariffs, but he does have that trade agreement he negotiated with them before. But one of the points I want to make is that some of the highest tariff rates, the way he did this, and I'll explain that in just 1 second, some of the highest tariff rates are under some of the poorest, most struggling countries in the world. And so Bangladesh is now going to pay a 37% tariff rate on stuff they sell to us. South Africa, 30%, and so on. So this is going to cut our purchases from these countries dramatically. It is going to hurt these countries' economies dramatically. It is not just bad economics, it's bad foreign policy, and it's inhumane. So you ask, how do they calculate it? I'm sure everybody has seen this formula before. I'm joking. And I'm not going to go through it all, but we got a lot of Greek letters here. We got epsilon, we got phi, we got all this stuff. But basically, Willie, it comes down to what you just said.
Yeah, we covered this already. It's redundant. Judge orders